heavyweight division, 12 straight fights.
He's a brilliant madman, one of the most creative guys to ever step into the octagon.
He has beat the very best the UFC has ever seen.
He has an unstoppable will to win.
The UFC's human highlight film is Justin Gaethje, the most entertaining fighter on this roster.
This guy is a knockout artist. Won bonuses in each of his UFC appearances.
Holy smoke, Justin Gaethje has some power.
Have you ever seen anything like Justin Gaethje?
A fight between Justin Gaethje and Tony Ferguson. It will guarantee fireworks.
I'm the best. I've been the best. Once you get locked inside that octagon, nobody can come save you. He's gonna get hurt.
I want a real fighter. I want Tony.
I love facing adversity. I love facing my fears. I 100% believe I'm going to knock him out. I'm going for the finish at all times.
Henry Cejudo!
I am the greatest combat athlete of all time.
Dominic Cruz, this is the fight to win back his title.
Francis Ngannou! The scariest puncher to have ever touched that canvas. Throws a strike. This man is going to put you out.
Jeremy Stevens, scary to fight. He's a knockout artist. He's ready to put your lights out.
Calvin Kattar, he is a finisher. Cowboy Cerrone!
The all-time leader in wins and finishes. Anthony Pettis carries some power. He is angelic.
The bodies hit the floor when Greg Hardy connects.
This is bombs away, ladies and gentlemen.
Gurkaran Castro.
A one-punch knockout machine.
This card stacked from top to bottom. I cannot wait. The biggest pay-per-view of the year.
This is a massive event.
The world will be watching.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the MMA India Show. And we are not live. We are recorded with well, this is the lockdown version, of course, with Gurkaran SINGH Shawney from Chandigarh top team, with Coach Vishal Seigell from Bangalore, from Koi Academy, and Srikant, the Gorilla Sekhar, one of the top India MMA fighters, locked down somewhere on the border of Karnataka and Orissa.
No, it's Andhra and Orissa.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Of Andhra and Orissa. So, how's it going? It looks like the internet is still a little shaky over there.
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I was asking you. I said the internet is still a little shaky.
Okay. Yeah, so there was a cyclone coming to Orissa a couple of days ago. So the whole weather was like very dull and cloudy, and there was a lot of rain. Okay. That's the reason from last 3 days I didn't have internet, and finally today I have some internet. I think I can manage through it. Okay,
good. So in case you can't hear us or you can't say anything, just sit there and keep nodding and smiling and looking good. That's good.
No, it's okay.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about UFC 249. First of all, of course, you know, we all know the circumstances under which the whole world is living right now. And UFC 249, they tried to make it happen on an island in between, you know, when it got cancelled initially because of the lockdown in America. And now, of course, it's happening in Florida, which state is open. What do you guys have to say about you know, the restarting of sports events? Of course, it's going to happen without an audience, you know, but there is going to be a huge global interest in this. So, you know, starting with Gurkaran, since this is the way I'm seeing you guys, so we'll just go from top like this. Gurkaran, what do you?
I would want to say all those, like, you know, ethical stuff, you know, that all the good stuff, oh, maybe they shouldn't have and stuff. But then we are MMA, we are die-hard MMA fans. I was more than happy even if they wanted to do it on the island. You know, I think it's so good. Everything is closed. It's going to be something positive. Like, you know, some people are going to be entertained because just sitting at home all stressed out and watching all the stuff online about COVID, this, that, it's just fear-mongering, you know. So at least it's going to be something, you know, good. We can, like, learn something from the fighters and stuff, like, you know, going out there, putting it all on the line. So I think it's a good idea, you know. I think I'm very, very happy, you know.
Coach?
Obviously, being a combat fan or sports in general, we definitely want to look out, you know, for everybody who's associated with an event that could be out there in the element, and and if they're not protected, then there's a trouble. However, given that it's a very high level event, I'm sure they're going to take all the precautions. I mean, in the past 2-3 months or whatever we've gone through, it's been pretty bad. They've figured things out. I wasn't really mad that Khabib and Tony got cancelled. I mean, obviously I was disappointed, but I mean, you have to consider the fighter's safety. And I know Tony is the kind of guy he doesn't care, and he's ready to just go. I mean, he showed that with his weight cut, which he didn't need to do. But at the same time, there's two sides to that coin. So we just got to be careful. And I just hope, since the card is happening, I am obviously very elevated about it, and I just hope that it goes fine, and everything that needs to be taken care of in terms of precaution and in terms of in that sense, for everybody's safety. As long as that's there, then we're ready to go, and we're excited that this card's happening. So.
Great, Srikant.
Yeah. So the news is that in February, AK San Jose closed down. So Khabib actually didn't had any training camp going on in US, and that's the reason he left to Russia. And then there was speculation like they'll be having 249 in an island. I think it was a really bad move, because if you see what are the cases after that, like Khabib's father getting COVID-19, right? He is positive COVID-19, and then imagine Khabib is fighting, and then he sees his father is COVID-19 positive, or a week before the fight, his father is positive, right? And it is a very bad move. I think on behalf of UFC and Dana, like UFC 249, he was pushing too hard to do it, and it was really a bad move. But right now, as things are in control, and Khabib is out of the equation because he's locked down in Russia, and Justin Gaethje steps in. I would have not given any props to Justin Gaethje if it was the fight earlier. If it would have happened in the island, because Justin Gaethje had very less time to prepare. But now that he's having a good amount of time in hand, I'm thinking like he will come out strong. Yeah.
Great. So my view, of course, I've been mixed about this also, but I think over time there has been enough time for them to put enough. And what Dana White said recently in an interview I was saying is he said that we put in such precautions and measures that we are prepared to give it to other sports leagues, these measures, so that they can follow the same as well, the kind of safety measures we put in. So let's hope, and I'm sure that he doesn't want anything happening on his watch, because they know the kind of effect that will have. It'll look really bad if something or somebody gets affected. So I'm sure they put in enough measures, and it's been about I think about 45 days since there has been anything, and there's no audience there. So I think at least as long as there's no audience, it is safer. Of course, there are still fighters and teams coming in from various parts. So depends on how But as a fan, of course, who wouldn't be dying to see 249? We want to see it, and let's just hope that all the safety measures, like they've said, they put in. I'm sure they have. So going forward, so the first fight, of course, is on the main card. Is between Greg Hardy and Yordan De Castro. Now, both of these guys are knockout artists, of course. Yordan hasn't even lost in his professional history, and Greg Hardy has been pretty good in his fight so far. He lost his last fight though to Alexander Volkov. And the fight before that, it ended very interestingly, because he had actually won it, but it was overturned as a no contest because he had that inhaler. He took a breath from his inhaler. Yeah. So that was of course, that's history now. But both of these guys, of course, very hard-hitting guys, don't see it lasting, all 3 rounds. They're, of course, going to be looking to finish it. What do you guys have to say? you know, we don't have to follow a thing. We can just be chatting with each other about this.
I got CASTRO just because of experience, you know. I got CASTRO.
And you, coach?
It's quite even for me. I think Hardy in his fight before he did that, there was some other issues as well. Was there any fouls in the fight or unintentional fouls?
There was some issue, I think, with illegal knees. That was the fight with Alan Crowder, which he lost then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think Greg Hardy should take this in about the second round. Given that, you know, he's pretty clean. I mean, not that I'm not going to claim that he did anything on purpose or not. Either way, that he's careful while he fights. But then you have heavyweights, right? So they're about the same amount of fights into their professional career.
More
is it?
Yeah.
So I think they have apart from his 2 losses, Greg Hardy's, they have the same amount of wins, and almost all of them are by knockouts for both of them. So it's really a toss up for me. I would still go with Hardy around the second round.
Okay. Srikant? Can you hear us, Srikant?
So I would go with Greg Hardy first round. Yeah. So I would go with Greg Hardy first round KO because, like, see, he has already lost last 2 of his fights. He has nothing to lose anymore. He will come out swinging. And then I think, anyways, couple of months his camp, because there was a speculation like he didn't had proper training with his coaches, and there were a lot of other stuffs going on in the training camp. So I think he has changed his camp. I'm not very sure about it, but what I know, like, he has changed his camp, and I give it to Greg Hardy because he has nothing to lose and he has a lot of things to prove. So I think he will come out strong.
Okay, great. So let's
round KO.
Let's see. Well, it's definitely going to be a first round KO from one of these guys. Let's see who it is.
Yeah.
You know, now of course, now the next fights start getting even more interesting. Jeremy Stephen versus Calvin Kattar.
Okay.
Now, both of these guys have been around for a really long time. You know, they're both really experienced. If you see, even especially Jeremy Stephen, his career, I feel, has had, you know, he's had a couple of wins, then he starts getting momentum, and then he loses the momentum. He starts getting momentum, then he loses the momentum. Even if you see his last 2 fights were with Yair Rodriguez, where the first one was an NC for the accidental eye poke, and then they fought again and he lost versus on unanimous decision. Before that, of course, he had lost to Zabit Magomedo Sharipov, and he had lost to Jose Aldo. He had defeated Josh Emmett, Doi Ho Chu, and Melendez, 3-fight win streak before that. So, you know, like we see, you know, he wins 3, he loses a couple, so he keeps going back and forth. But I think he's always a very dangerous fighter. Having said that, even Calvin Kattar is really, really experienced. But the way I see it is, Jeremy Stephens, the way one has an impression in one's mind, he always comes with an aggressive attitude and swinging to win. What do you guys have to say?
Okay, so absolutely, he's always swinging for the fences. I feel he needs to be a little economical with how he's fighting, because Kattar he has a good, decent, not decent, more than decent, very good BJJ team camp behind him, and a Muay Thai and a good, good training in Muay Thai. Excuse me, somebody was asking me something. I apologize. So, if Jeremy is able to maintain his pressure, and he needs to know where to let go, where to let the pedal go, and stay out of certain areas, I feel he should be able to do very well. I think the last 3 you said he's lost, right? Or
he's lost he's lost out of the last 4 fights. He's lost 3, and one was an NC.
Okay, not a contest. Okay,
Yeah.
that was against Zaire, right? So okay,
Yeah.
so with Jose, he got knocked out, liver shot, I think, and the other two he has lost decision, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
he's got to be economical. It's a 3-round fight, and he's got to be very thorough as to um, where he is, where he's investing his shots and where he thinks he's able to win the fight. If he's able to do that, I see him being able to take this fight. If he's unable to do that, because he throws everything he throws is 100% power, and if he's doing that, I see the second round turning out real badly for him.
Yeah.
But in the fight with Zaire, I think he started coming back in the third round. Was it towards the second or the third round? And if that would have been a 5-round fight, I would definitely have gone with him on that. But then Zaire would have fought accordingly as well. So, but for this fight, I would if it's a toss up again for me, but I would if he's able to control himself and if he's able to invest the right way with his strikes, he should be able to get this done.
But don't you think, and this is something I want to talk to everybody about, don't you think his game is a little predictable when he comes swinging for the fences? You know that he is going to be the aggressive one. And somebody like Calvin Qatar, who is, so game smart, if you see his record as well, he's only lost to Zabit and Renato Maiciano in his last, quite a few fights. And he's also beaten, just before that, he had beaten Ricardo Lamas, who's also a very high-level fighter. You don't think somebody like a Calvin Qatar has the game smarts to know that, I know that Jeremy is the one who's going to be the aggressor, and therefore I have to make my game plan accordingly. Srikant, you're shaking your head.
So first of all, I'm picking up Calvin Qatar because I didn't knew this guy 1.5 years ago, and maybe when I started watching his highlights, and he's really impressive.
Yeah.
Because I think last match he won by a KO.
Yeah.
And Jeremy Stephens, obviously he has power in both hands. But if you see fight-wise, I'm a fan of Calvin Qatar than Jeremy Stephens. And Jeremy Stephens, I think he made a lot of name just because of Conor McGregor said him, who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah.
And apart from that, yeah, exactly, right.
Yeah.
So,
but I have to say, Jeremy Stephens got back with a picture with Conor's mother and said, "Your mother."
Yeah. Your mom knows who I am.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so these guys are as tough as they come, and but I will count it on Calvin Qatar because I think he's in tremendous form right now, and he's a very precise striker. Because last fight was impressive striking, and
I just want to correct you. His last fight, he lost.
He's very calculative.
His last fight, he lost to Zabit. It was the 1-2 before that.
I think something's bad with his connection. Yeah, it has stopped.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm sorry for that. But then, So Jeremy Stephens, everyone knows he'll come out swinging, right? And Calvin Qatar needs to be cautious of the power hands Jeremy Stephens pulls because he has knocked a lot of his opponents out as well. But then, as I said, I will choose over Calvin Qatar. Maybe third round, TKO. If he gasses out, and I don't think gassing out will be a problem for both of these guys because they are quite experienced. Still, I will go with Calvin Qatar.
Okay. Gurkaran?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Jeremy Stephens, guys. I mean, this guy, he's a veteran.
Okay.
I think he was in the UFC, by the time he was 21. And I know, he has his shortcomings. Every time he used to come nearly towards the title shot, something wrong used to happen. The way he knocked out Rafael dos Anjos, my gosh. Have you seen those knockouts? And that was crazy. I know he's a banger.
Yeah, that was very good.
That was crazy. The uppercut, crazy.
Of course.
He's a crazy guy, but he always comes back. That's what I see. He loses a couple of fights, then he always comes back. And of course, if the game plan Kelvin is going to try to make this fight more technical. Like, like Josh Emmett was trying to do. Like, Josh Emmett wasn't playing Jeremy Stevens' game. He was trying to make angles, be light on his face, and then just create those angles and throw that power hand, because that's what Josh Emmett does. He had that crazy overhand, which he knocked out, I think, Michael Johnson and other guys with that also. But Jeremy Stevens, I think what I feel, Jeremy Stevens, because Jeremy Stevens is a training partner of Dominic Cruz also, like, so he's not that meathead, he does know a lot of stuff, like,
Yeah, exactly.
Alliance is a good team. It's not that, like, people just, some people think he's a meathead, but no, he has this thing. Yeah, he does get carried over sometimes. What I feel is going to happen is that, of course, Calvin Kattar, my gosh, that guy is precise. He's so technical. But what I feel is going to happen is that Jeremy is going to force him to brawl. And when that's going to happen, then I think that's when Jeremy is going to shine. That's what I think. Of course, don't get me wrong, but that's what
I think I think both of them fought Zabit, right?
Yeah, both of them fought and both of them lost to Zabit.
I want to say another thing.
Was it decision?
Yeah, it was for Calvin. It was a decision.
Yeah.
And for Jeremy, it was also a decision. Both of them
a
decision.
Okay. Okay. Then I think this is going to be a good fight.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like with the Zabit, I think these new guys, they are so good at everything. Like, they make all those angles, mix the kicks up and stuff and everything. With these guys, with Jeremy Stevens and stuff, I think they are still old school fighters, They have that toughness mentality.
Yeah.
But the new guys, they come in with crazy stuff like Yair Rodriguez and or Calvin Kattar. These guys are mixing things up better than ever before. So that's why these guys lost. Yeah.
And I want to add something to it. Like right now, the situation in the world is very bad in terms of going out and training, right? So you don't know how many fighters have actually gone through a proper camp, and how many fighters have just gone through padding and training and running and stuff like that. So you never know what kind of fights can you anticipate from a fighter. He might be a different fighter altogether. But if you see the things which will add up to Jeremy Stevens' resume is like he's a training partner of Dominic Cruz, and both of them are probably fighting in the same card. And I think they are proper sparring partners, almost the same weight, and always regular on training, and they don't need anyone else. I think they have gone through a proper camp. But I'll still stick to Kelvin Kattar.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Absolutely. That's so true. Yeah, I saw like Dominic Cruz with these like rashes all over his back. I knew it was Jeremy Stevens because he's the one who goes crazy in the training. So yeah, I absolutely agree with Srikant on that one.
You guys want to place a bet against each other, and the MMA India Show MMA India Show can take a commission for making the bet.
Guys, come on.
Is it legal? Is it legal?
Is it legal? Yeah. That's what you want to know.
We can do it with a bottle of booze.
Okay.
The guy who wins doesn't have to stand in line.
Yeah.
So how do you send it to Orissa then?
Each other?
We save it. We
save it.
We save it.
Are they relish it?
Yeah. So moving on to the next one is the big powerhouse fight, Francis Ngannou versus Jerez.
Damn. This guy fight is gonna be so good. Man, can't wait for this fight. These guys are both powerhouses, man. One touch and the other guy is gone. Like everyone has been saying that Francis is gonna be like after his last loss to Stipe. I think he learned a lot from that. Of course, he had that fear in him. That fear was that fight with Derek Lewis was so boring because of that fear. He himself recognized the truth and he said it outside, like on the Twitter or something. But after his fights after that, he's a killer, man. It's like he has gotten over that fear, like the mental fear, and now he's just coming guns blazing. Even DC said, he said, I'm just retiring, man. I don't want to fight that guy. He's too crazy, Even DC said that. And even I think even Stipe is gonna be so scared. Like, I know Stipe is a crazy, he's a legend, without a doubt. But second time, like after he's learned his lesson, I think Francis is gonna come very, very stronger, very, very stronger. And I personally think that one day I think Francis is gonna be the champion, without a doubt.
Tell me, have you seen? His name is Jairzinho Rosenstruck. Have you seen his last couple of fights?
I,
He's a Surinamese fighter. Have you seen his last couple of fights?
I saw this. I saw this guy. Srikant, you can say.
Yeah, of course. So like last fight, I think he had a fight with Overeem, right? And he opened his lip up.
That was quite a few fights ago, yeah.
Okay. So, like, I'm not very sure about whom he fought last one, but then if I see his highlight reels, he's a very impressive guy.
Well, his last, Francis Ngannou, his last 3 fights, he's beaten Junior Dos Santos, Cain Velasquez, and Curtis Blades. And before that, he had lost to Derek Lewis, which both of them.
I was talking about Rosenstruck
and Stipe Miocic. Now Rosenstruck has never. He's lost his last. 1 second. Rosenstruck is unbeaten.
Unbeaten, yeah. He's unbeaten, yeah.
And his last 2 fights, he beat Alistair Overeem and Andrei Arlovsky.
Yeah. So I saw that Alistair Overeem.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
And nothing was happening for
some time
all the time, and then till the last till in the last couple of seconds everything changed. Like you can understand what kind of power that guy has.
Yeah.
So if you see like that, Rosenstruck has a winning streak right now, and Francis Ngannou has had 2 really bad losses, and I think he has not recovered from it, because if you see his posts online or if you see Twitter, he's saying, I think I am ready to move to boxing. I don't think he's completely concentrating on MMA, and he knows he has a hole in the game. He knows he lacks in a lot of skills, and he's not completely dedicated towards it. If he was completely dedicated towards it, he would have never said like, I want to try my hands on boxing as well, because you have a lot of things to learn, especially Francis Ngannou, who has power in both the hands and very bad in wrestling, and I don't think he even has a jiu-jitsu game. So I will go for Rosenstruck, and I think it's going to be a first round KO.
Yeah, I just want to say something here. See, a lot of MMA guys do put out this boxing thing. I think a lot of times it's for press. It's to increase their profile. It's if they get a fight. You know, of course, Conor actually went and fought, but a lot of them, Stipe has spoken about fighting Joshua. A lot of them put out this boxing thing for the bucks. So do you really think but when they talk about boxing, it's because they're not fully into the MMA game, or do you think it's more just to build their profile?
No, it depends completely upon the person. Like if you see Conor, he has achieved everything and anything he could have achieved before he went to fight Floyd Mayweather. And if you see Stipe Miocic, he's the heavyweight king, right? And then, of course, he has achieved whatever he wanted to achieve, and then now he wants to step into some other ring. But Francis Ngannou, he has not achieved anything in this career apart from Overeem's knockout and some other spectacular knockouts. And then he had 2 big losses where he actually understood what fighting is all about. So rather than concentrating completely on MMA, he is thinking of moving on to boxing in the mid of his career. That means there is a lack in his game. And I'm really concerned about it. That's the reason I'm choosing Rosenstruck over Francis Ngannou.
I have to respectfully disagree with that. Okay, respectfully, because the thing with Francis Ngannou was that he was asking for fights. He was going crazy at Dana to give him fights, but he wasn't getting any fights. So then he got frustrated. Like, I want to fight. I'm ready. And no one, literally no one wanted to call Ngannou out. Not even DC. DC said, I don't want to fight that guy. So no one wanted to fight him. I think this was the first guy. He had the balls to call Ngannou out. And without a doubt, Rosenstruck can get him without a doubt, because, honestly, from what I've seen, all the interviews of all the other UFC fighters and stuff, everyone is saying Francis is going to win. Francis is going to win. Obviously, it's not that easy, man. That Rosenstruck guy, he got balls and he has knocked people out with just jabs and just hooks. He's precise. He's not that. Francis might have that crazy power and just he goes balls in. But this guy is technical too. I would still go for Francis on this one, but I clearly think I'm not thinking the way everyone else is thinking, the UFC fighters, that it's going to be just Francis. In heavyweight, it's crazy when we see all the stuff that happened in the heavyweight. Junior Dos Santos KO'd Cain Velasquez and stuff. Anything that happens in the heavyweight category. That's
whom are you going with?
I'm gonna go with Francis. with a KO.
Okay. We'll see, man.
I think
लाइन में लगे ही हो जो भी लगेगा तो
No, me and Srikant are not in the bottom line. We're gonna put the weed on the line.
I want to give my perspective before we come to coach. Very simple.
Okay.
Is the movie King Kong versus Godzilla?
Okay.
They were fighting.
Yeah, exactly.
King Kong भी King Kong है, Godzilla भी Godzilla है. Who the fuck is gonna? But it's gonna be a fight that everybody wants to see, and it's gonna end in the first round. Unless they do something stupid like the fight with Derek Lewis, where they fucking keep circling each other for 3 rounds. Unless that happens, because see, another thing is here, Rosenstruck is also coming up with a reputation as the next Ngannou almost. With that kind of momentum of knocking people out. Both of them have that same reputation. So that's why I bring the King Kong versus Godzilla thing. Coach, what do you have to say?
Perfect.
I would agree with Gurkaran. I'm going to go with Ngannou on this. Though Rosenstruck, he has quite the story. He's coming from a country that probably just has under 10 lakh or 8 lakh people as population. One of the most poor countries, right? And he's a very good highlight.
Population, Suriname has even less people.
So, no, that's what I'm talking about.
Less people.
I am talking about Rosenstruck.
Oh, you're talking about Rosenstruck. Okay.
Yes. So that's what I'm talking about, and it's quite a striking story if he's able to beat him. I think reach. Would you know the stats on the reach? I think Ngannou is taller and has a little bit more reach, and mostly anything Ngannou hits crumbles. Apart from a couple of fights we have discussed. If the fight goes beyond the first initial couple of rounds, there could be a hope. But see, I understand he's a very good striker, but if you look at Stipe, who's a Golden Gloves boxer as well, and he's disciplined with his striking, is the reason he's been able to do what people thought he's going to get knocked out in the first round. He took it all the way to 5 rounds, and he was able to get a decision. I don't think Rosenstruck has that. He does have excellent striking, don't get me wrong, but I just feel when they engage and the moment Ngannou is able to connect, I think it's lights out. It is definitely lights out.
Well, okay. We've got some daru and some weed on the line, so let's see.
Hey, mango shake, huh? Mango shake.
If Rosenstruck had some good wrestling, then I would have considered that he could have won. More chances, more chances. I actually want Rosenstruck to win, man, because everyone, I see online, all the fighters, UFC fighters, everyone. I haven't heard one UFC fighter say that Francis is not going to lose. Everyone's like Francis. So I don't have any problem. But the thing is that
but I just have to say, I think the fight of his against Stipe also came with that same feeling where everybody felt ye to Stipe ko maar dega aur ye wo.
Exactly.
But Stipe had a plan.
Absolutely.
So if you see, there is a couple of fights which people have seen. Listen, this is how we can counter him. But Rosenstruck hasn't lost yet. I'm not saying that he's not going to lose to you can't lose to him. But all I'm saying is, I don't put a lot of just on that everybody's saying that he's going to win. He is coming back with momentum. All I'm saying is, like I said, against Stipe, everybody was saying the same thing.
And I would like to add something to it. Who is the greatest kickboxer who came out of Suriname?
I'm sorry?
Sponge, right?
इसका जवाब के लिए दारू मिलेगा या नहीं?
Guys, you're breaking up. You're graping. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so he said who's the greatest kickboxer who has ever come out of Suriname?
Tyrone Spong.
Yeah, so Tyrone Spong, but then he trains in Amsterdam. And Rozenstruik also trains in Amsterdam. So he's one of those Dutch kickboxing guys. And I always believed Dutch kickboxing is way superior than boxing when it comes to legs and punches combined together. And that was one of the biggest reasons why he was able to knock out over him in the last couple of seconds. It's all about Dutch kickboxing, and these guys who come out to Suriname have heavy hands.
I just want to say, if you think about it, you've seen a lot of training footage of Overeem, but you've not seen much of Rozenstruik. So he is a bigger mystery as such.
Yeah.
Plus, he has a very good kickboxing, kicks also. I haven't seen his kicks in a lot of fights, but there was one with that baby, I think man baby something guy, that's his middle name, and he had him with a right hand and left kick, knocked him out clean. So exactly. I have to agree with Srikant on that one, man. But the thing that you were saying, Parvin sir, is that that everyone was saying that the Zingano is gonna win that fight with Stipe, but I think Stipe is a different animal, and plus Zingano had that ego that I'm the best. So Stipe showed him that no, you're not the best. These are the things that are missing in your game. So I think that in a way also helped Francis to build his game up. I think that could also be when you were saying that it could be a lack, it could be a negative thing, but I think it could be a really, really positive.
But the reason I'm saying it is the pressure is on Francis to win. When everybody says he's going to win, the pressure is on Francis to win.
Absolutely.
Rozenstruik comes in with zero pressure on his shoulders. He comes in free as a fighter.
He does have an undefeated record. Come on, there's zero pressure.
But you're not talking about his undefeated record. You're talking about Francis Ngannou, along with everybody else, coming in on this momentum and the fact that he's going to win. Rozenstruik is undefeated, but nobody's talking about that. That's what I'm trying to say. Is that even though he is undefeated, he's a great fighter, but he's coming in with hardly any pressure.
Absolutely. I have to agree with that. But the thing is that last time Francis was too up in his head. He knew what happened and he let everyone say that, oh, I'm the best. No one can defeat me. Even Dana was like, oh, Francis, you're going to be the next champion. What happened? So I think Francis is smart. He's not going to let that outside influence get him this time, and he's going to stay focused and do what he has to do.
Well, okay, let's see what happens. Let's move on to the next fight, which is again I would say a technical. See, the fight before this, Ngannou Rozenstruik, is like a brute fight, But coming back, of course, there's a lot of technique there, kickboxing, this and that, which we don't, but you know what I mean, right? There are two brutes. But again, coming to Henry Cejudo and Dominic Cruz, very, very technical, almost artistic, two very different artists in their own right. Henry Cejudo, of course, has not only won both the flyweight and the bantamweight titles, which is amazing. He's he beat Demetrius Johnson, of course, and then he just beat Marlon Moraes for the bantamweight title as well, the vacant bantamweight title. Now, Dominic Cruz is one of the most talented bantamweights, but he's coming off a loss from Cody Garbrandt, who, of course, after that has been losing several times. But that was a morale-shattering defeat because of the way Cody won it. But I think Dominic is very, very mentally strong. So I think he comes into this fight because of the gap also fresh. And the fact that Cody has been losing after that, I think puts that a little, distant memory. Now, what's interesting also, what I find is, again here, is Henry has put all of the pressure on himself to win because of his marketing strategy, King, chicks, and everything, which is great. That's what gets
Triple C.
The money, the Triple C, the money and the fights. So, which is great. You need to do that as well. But that does put pressure on you then to win. So how do you guys see this fight going? Especially, Dominic is one of the most interesting fighters I've seen because of the different angles he uses. His movement is very unlike, any other guy's movement. It's very him. Let's say that.
I think we should let Vishal, Coach Vishal, say this time. Vishal has been holding the whole situation to ourselves.
I'll say the last. Yeah, I'll answer last.
Oh.
Oh, so you guys just don't want to, you don't want to give up your peers and you don't want to be in line. I see how it is. Yeah. Pick up on the old guy. I mean, older guy, right? Okay. Uh, I think the last Cruz and Henry, I think they lost on the same fight night or same event or same, or they were very, I mean, the events were very close that they had lost. And the difference is that Dominic Cruz has been out since.
The last time Henry Cejudo lost was to Joseph Benavidez.
Benavidez, yes.
Which was December 3rd, 2016 at the Ultimate Fighter Tournament of Champions finale. And the last time Cruz lost was 2016, December 30th. So it was within the same month, which was at UFC. It
wasn't the same event.
Or same month, you can say, yeah.
Same month, yeah.
Okay. So one of the things is, I mean, obviously, you know, like you said, Cruz has the craziest angles, the craziest footwork, unorthodox. It's really, you know, he's not, it's very hard to hit him. But again, you know, last time also, you know, people said he has ring rust and so on and so forth. Then I think he came back and he beat DJ, I think, if I'm not wrong. And then I think he won another fight and then lost one.
Yeah, so I'll just tell you, he beat Dillashaw, then he beat Uriah Faber, and then he lost to Cody Garbrandt.
Okay. The thing is, they're both very close in age, and at this point, with the momentum that Henry is coming in with and his fighting style, and then he's improved quite a bit, you know, in his striking, even though if he goes up against a super striker, then, you know, his striking wouldn't look as crisp or good. But, you know, if you see the difference he's made, it's phenomenal. In this case, this is going to be a very fast-paced fight. But I would go with Henry with a decision on this, being able to, you know, he might take the first round to figure out Dominic's footwork, and then he's going to start the forward movement, the pressure. But he's got to be careful coming in, not getting caught with something. But I feel he should be able to pretty much take any damage that Dominic has to offer. And it would be a very hard thing to finish. I mean, anything can happen with 4 rounds gloves, but most probably he's going to go ahead and take a decision on this.
Gurkaran?
All right. Yes, so for this fight, I'm going to... first, I want to say, I'm not going to say who's going to win, but I want to say, like, both the sides, okay? So on one side, we have a veteran. For me personally, one of my first, like, heroes was Dominic Cruz, man. When I saw his fight, the way it has that artistic touch to it, like, you know, he has those brains. He's a very cerebral guy, you know. I'm not going to say he has that, like, knockout power or something, like, you know, but he has that brains. He's figured out things and stuff, and he's been doing very good. And he has that, like, hard work. And we have also seen that he doesn't get that ring rust. I know most of the guys, the ring rust is true, but for most of the guys, but for him, like, he came back and defeated Dillashaw. Like, Dillashaw was killing people. Just the way, like, you know, look what happened with Ryan Rao. He was untouchable before TJ beat him. But what I will say is, like, Dominic, I think if anyone can do it, it's going to be Dominic, man, because he has that brains. But on the other side, like, I can see, like, his body deteriorating. Yes, he had some time off and stuff, so he could cool down and stuff and everything. He was doing the commentator job. But the thing is that while he was doing the commentator job, like, Henry was getting the momentum on. He's at his peak, I think so. Like, for me, personally, at this moment, Dominic Cruz is the greatest bantamweight of all time. It's my opinion, you know. Probably must not be a fact, but for me, he is, you know, because he came back. He didn't have to come back. He still came back and he defeated Dillashaw. Like, man, this guy is just, he overcame crazy kind of adversity in his life, man. Like, this guy is my hero, personally. And but with the Henry, my gosh, this guy, like he was saying, like, he will have that mental stress on himself that he's gonna lose, or he has to win the Triple C and stuff and everything. But man, this guy is an Olympic gold medalist. These wrestlers, man, they love that toughness. Especially, I trained with wrestlers. These guys love that pressure. These guys, they are so tough, man. I don't think that pressure from outside or anything is gonna affect him in any way, you know. And plus, I think he's at his peak. He's just evolving at such a pace that he's at his peak. And plus, what I see in Marlon's fight, the last fight, is that he was getting battered in the first round, but still, he was always thinking positive. He was always there. He wasn't like, I see some guys, they're very confident before the fight, but when things start to get bad, they get in the flow. Like, once things started going bad for Marlon, he was panicking. He was going crazy. First round, he was beating the shit out of Henry. But that's the thing with these wrestlers. They are tough, men, especially Olympic level gold. That's why I think, plus he's not just saying that, like before he was just there, but now he's evolving at a crazy pace. So I personally, I'm going to go with Triple C.
Hey, you need the girls. You need the girls to match with it as well, not just the medal.
Yeah. So there you go.
It's lockdown.
Yeah. Maybe come later on, yeah. She's going to come back later on.
Hey, social distancing, guys.
Yeah, I'll just...
social distancing, that's my excuse, guys. Come on.
Yeah. I'll just cut it short and I'll go with Dominic Cruz, because I think he'll come out strong, and he has been having a lot of injuries when he was just peaking in his career, and it is a couple of times. It has been a lot of times, and I think he has a better fight. Want to come back and train and fight, but he came back, he fought Dilshaw and he won. He became injured again, and then a lot of things have been going on, but then I think he still has the guts and glory to come down and beat whoever is in front of him. And to be very true, I don't like the cringe king, so Dominic Cruz it is. Yeah.
If Cruz beats, I think Henry, he's going to be the greatest. Like the greatest, like, I know if Henry wins, he's also going to be one of the greatest, even though I don't like his cringe game too, but he's an Olympic wrestler, he got 2 belts. If he beats like Dominic Cruz, I think he will have that position solidified, but if Cruz beats him, oh my gosh, yeah, like it's going to be something special.
Yeah, but it also goes the other way. If Dominic Cruz loses, I think he is up for a long ride then. Like, he doesn't know what to do and where to go from that part of his career, because he has been injured. He has not been fighting. He's into commentary, and that is what happened to Dan Hadry, right? Like, he just lost a couple of fights and he went to commentary, and then we have never seen him back in the cage again.
Yeah. Dan Hardy from England, right?
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
So I think his Srikant, I think his was neurological. A heart problem. Okay,
heart problem. Yeah, he had a heart problem.
And recently he was talking about coming back, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Very recently, but I really don't know.
Coming back, yeah, exactly.
Yes, he wants to fight back. Yeah.
But one thing, if I may.
And the thing is, like, when people change. Yeah. So
when people
start changing. Yeah, like when people start changing jobs, like you understand how the mind is. Like, you are not 100% in one thing. And you start, you give your time to commentating, you give your time to documenting, you give your time to training. Like, you are dividing your time where you should have been training full time, right? And then things like this catch up to fighters. Like, if you see Conor McGregor, he's a big prime example. Like, he was a very sharp guy when he was in UFC, and after going through what he has gone through, and he made a lot of things. Like, yeah, of course, he's a legend in the fight business. But do you think he's a good fighter? Like, right now, he's not on the top of his game, and he could improve. Like, of course, he has a place to improve, but right now he's not on the top of the game, because all these things are distracting him from doing what he's supposed to do.
Especially the business, like the business and stuff, and the whiskey and this. I think it's all about time and energy. Like these guys are when the guy is putting all the time and energy into one thing. Obviously, he's going to grow if it's business or fight and stuff. So I absolutely agree with
anything.
Yeah.
No, I was just.
Sorry.
Go ahead,
Coach. Please.
No. I was just adding. Actually, earlier, Gurkaran was talking about Dominic Cruz. You got to applaud that guy. This is the second time he's coming back after a 2-year gap, and what it takes mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, whatever. It takes a lot, and the thing is, a lot of people don't appreciate that or realize that, for that matter. So, and like one of you said before, if he ends up beating Henry, I mean, all hell is going to break loose. He's then I think Gurkaran, what what you said, there can be no argument on that, regardless of Henry coming back and being able to do so. I just feel at this time it is very hard. Like I was wanting to say this earlier. It's not, when you are putting your time and energy into one thing, or you distribute it among 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things, then you kind of, obviously you start to lose. But given the mind, given the IQ of Dominic Cruz, it's pretty awesome on how he puts it to use, and he surprises you. I mean, because of that, given the fact that they're almost the same age, Henry is just with a great momentum right now. I don't know of any injuries that he has. Who I would want to win? I mean, I would want the better man to win. I have a soft heart for Dominic as well, but I feel that Henry's going to go ahead.
Yeah, I just have to pipe in here that I also want Dominic Cruz to win. I've been a really big fan of his style. The way he's a big thinker of the game as well, which comes through in his commentary. He really understands the game, its history, and everything about the game. But right now, I kind of feel it's Henry's time. He has much more to win, much more to lose. Then, like we said, if Dominic wins, the whole division goes topsy-turvy again, kind of. I do think Henry Cejudo comes in with a lot more bravado, a lot more confidence, and no lack of skill. I don't want to say a lot more skill. I'm going to call it not, there's no lack of skill. Let's say that, But having said that, stranger things have happened. Dominic Cruz is a brilliant fighter. But I would put my money on this fight with this timing right now on Henry Cejudo. I think he has already, like they say that sometimes the king loses his spot, another king comes and takes over. I think Henry Cejudo has come and taken over, and I think it's going to take a much, somebody with a much more need, let's say, like you were saying, Coach, is Dominic Cruz is doing a lot of things. I'm not sure he has that same hunger which he might have had when he was making his last comeback. He's a brilliant commentator, brilliant fighter, but he's already won everything. Henry Cejudo has a lot more. If he wins this fight, becomes one of the greats, blah blah blah. So because of a lot of these reasons, and like I said, it's gonna of course come down to that extra edge because both of them are very skilled. So let's see.
Guys, I want to say something.
Yeah.
I want to change my answer to Dominic Cruz. I want to change because I said that he was on the commentator booth for a long time. He wasn't training as much as Henry was doing, and he was doing more just mental work. But now that I'm thinking, Dominic Cruz didn't become the champion. I was the champion for a long time because of his physical qualities. It was because he could see all the fights, Muhammad Ali and stuff, and all the fights. He could see those movements and put those movements with his takedowns and create something special for MMA. So he was always that analytical. Plus, he never had that ring rust also, And yes, Henry has a lot to win, but I think Dominic has even more to win because, last time someone was invincible, it was TJ Dillashaw. He was killing everyone. And Dominic came after such a long time, after 4 years or something, and he just showed that TJ was immortal, and he was just another guy. And he was beating everyone who was just stable targets, They were not moving as he was moving. And I think Dominic knows if he comes back now and if he wins this, he's going to be cemented as the greatest, full stop, exclamation mark, nothing else, So I want to go with my heart on this one, not my brain, and I'll choose Dominic Cruz,
I just want to say you have every right to change your opinion, but we're just going to call you a little flaky from now on.
Oh! For Cruz, I'm more than happy.
So next time when you give your opinion, there's going to be a question mark by the end of the thing. What you start?
Worry, I'm going to be the last one to talk now because Srikant was the last. Before Vishal was last, I'll be last. So no questions.
Okay. So let's
Yeah, I'm waiting for the next one. Yeah.
let's start. Shall we start with Gurkaran so we can give him chance to change around again?
No.
Okay.
Of course, the big fight: Tony Ferguson versus Justin Gaethje, and of course, it was supposed to be Khabib. We've already spoken about that, the reasons everybody knows. But this is an amazing fight as well. If you see, of course, Justin Gaethje is one of the most exciting fighters. Came into the UFC with a win and then lost a couple, to Eddie Alvarez and Dustin Poirier, and then came back, of course, beating Edson Barboza, and he beat. One second.
He beat that tall guy. What's his name?
James Vick.
Yeah, James Vick. Yeah.
James Vick.
But James Vick has been a little shaky nowadays anyway. But Edson Barboza and Donald Cerrone, of course, are very high, especially Edson Barboza, very high. But, Tony Ferguson, he's not he's not fought somebody in the level. I would say, Tony Ferguson is on a really different level. If you see from where he can come back, I still remember this fight he had with this new guy called Vanata. His name, his full name was Lando
Vanata, yeah.
Lando Vanata. Do you remember?
Amazing fighter, yeah.
What an amazing fight, and that guy was so good as well. And he was almost knocked, but from where he fights from his back, he can change positions, he can do anything. So Tony Ferguson is a guy who's really, really hard to fight because he's so unpredictable. He can do so many things. He can, roll around his back. He's never at a weak spot. Let me say that from what I've observed. I've never seen any, even if you land a couple of punches on him, it looks like he's softened up, he's going to lose. But he's able to create space, roll around, gather his wits about him, and come back. He's always dangerous from no matter where you are. It's very hard, I feel, to rush in to like a Tony Ferguson, which is what Justin Gaethje likes to do. He likes to soften people up and rush in. But Tony Ferguson, with his elbows, this and that, all kinds of stuff, he can get you from anywhere. So this is going to be, but having said that, of course, Justin Gaethje is Justin Gaethje. But, of course, my money is without a doubt going to be on Tony Ferguson.
Okay.
I think
who's going?
And I won't change that opinion at the end.
Oh,
yeah. Then I think
that's a low blow, man. That's a low blow. Come on,
Coach. Why don't you?
I think we should start with. Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Go ahead. Who's going?
Srikant is going, I think so.
Srikant, go ahead.
No. I'll be the one in the very last.
Okay, I'll go.
Hey, man, I'm the one.
Age before beauty.
Gurkaran, he means here. No. This is going to be an epic fight. I think the last time, I even said this yesterday, the last time I think Tony lost, Henry had not even had his pro fight, or he had his first pro fight, and even Usman for that matter. And there was another guy I'm forgetting. Anyway, the thing is, Justin uses his fighting style. Obviously, comes as a collegiate wrestler and a very decorated one at that. He fights a lot like Dan Hendo and Rampage Jackson in terms of offensive wrestling. He doesn't use it as much, right? He likes to stand there and take heads off. So I feel, and given the fact on top of that he's, I think it's like Srikant had said earlier, he's had like a 3-week training camp. Not that he wasn't in shape, but he's had like a 3-week training camp. And from what I understand, his coach Whitman, right? His coach Whitman wasn't with him for that. From what I understand, I'm not sure. So if that is the case, then that is something that that could work against him. Now, as far as Tony is concerned, Tony is 37, 38 years old. He just cut weight. I think how many weeks ago? Do you know? 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
About 3 weeks ago, I think.
2 to 3.
Yeah.
3 to 4.
So
3 to 4.
So he ended up just making weight for a fight that didn't happen. I mean, a lot of people appreciate that. The thing is, given his age, I kind of fear that a little bit. But if somebody is going to do something extraordinary, it would be Tony. And I feel because he everybody knows he's unorthodox. He makes people either feel very uncomfortable or he'll make them feel very comfortable. Either which way, he's going to catch you making that mistake, and then it's that's all she wrote. We can sit and say, oh, he's going to get him with elbows. I feel it's going to come down to the scrambles. It's going to come down, to the deeper waters. Sure, Tony is very hittable, and Justin throws with pretty much everything he has. The longer the fight goes, it goes towards Tony. It's easier said than done, but from both sides, from Justin's side throwing strikes and from Tony's either trying to absorb them or avoid them. If we can clear that first round, the longer it goes towards Tony. That is obviously that everybody knows that. But I think Tony is very, very capable of doing that. Sure, Tony also knows what Justin comes with. What I think is Tony's gonna grab a very good opportunity in a scramble, and that's how it's going to go. If Tony chooses to stand there and trade strikes like Lamas and Max Holloway did at the end of their fight, I wouldn't be a big fan of that if we are wanting Tony to win. Because if Justin is able to connect and Tony goes down, Justin would have to be very careful, and depending on how well he is connected, he may be able to finish the fight. But I think Tony is very aware of that. Though he's shown us that he's got guts, and he's somebody who he's not to be messed with. I think he would know that he would know where to avoid Justin and be able to take it to deeper waters and then catch him in a scramble. So he's going to make it a messy affair. Pretty much all his fights are messy.
I just want to say something before I come to Srikant. Have you heard of this fitness guy called David Goggins? Hello. So have you heard of this fitness guy called David Goggins?
Yes.
So he's one of the very, very big fitness mentality guys of the world, and he's when Ferguson made weight for the fight that he didn't need to make weight for because he was the fight was cancelled. This guy had made a video. He makes these running videos, and he spoke about Ferguson, and he said just one thing, that is a savage mentality. It's just to make a point and to show how mentally strong you are, that you are doing that even when you don't need to. It's like literally twisting the knife in at the end, literally. So I think there's a lot to say about that. And for me, that is a bad motherfucker. There was a bad motherfucker belt, but
okay,
that is a bad motherfucker when you are doing something and that the fight might still happen. And like coach was saying, which is a very right point, that that at this age that does sometimes take something out of you. But I think just showing that you have the mental fortitude and the strength to do something like that sometimes puts a question mark in the other guy's mind. What the fuck am I dealing with? So I just wanted to put that out there. So Srikant.
Yeah. So I want to see it in a different way, right? Like you say, Tony has been making weight where he didn't have to make weight and things like that. Imagine someone is going to fight against Tony Ferguson. Do you understand what kind of balls that guy needs to have to fight Tony Ferguson? And imagine that guy is Justin Gaethje. Do you understand what kind of balls Justin Gaethje has to fight Tony Ferguson in a couple of weeks? Like, who does that? if you talk about heart, I think if David Goggins is talking about Tony Ferguson, I will completely talk about Justin Gaethje, because there are fighters who have skill, there are fighters who have technicality, there are fighters who are brave, who are strong, but I'm a guy who always goes with balls. And Justin Gaethje, complete thumbs up to him, because I don't think anyone else would have been interested in taking the fight with Tony Ferguson. And Justin Gaethje knows he can stand and bang, and he goes for the kill. He doesn't go out there to play. He will go there to kill. And just I'm counting it on Justin Gaethje first round KO. And I might be wrong. And it's a fight business, but I'm a diehard fan of Justin Gaethje. Just the way he fights, because he goes into fight. He doesn't go into calculate and stuff over there. He goes into fight. And then if you see Tony Ferguson previous matches, Tony Ferguson has been knocked down a lot of times in the first round by Anthony Pettis, by Groovy Orlando, right?
I follow Venata. He was knocked down by Venata in the first round.
Yeah, Lando Venata.
Yes. Yeah, and there have been cases where Tony Ferguson have been rocked, and the same goes with Gaethje as well. But then I think Gaethje throws any day hard punches than Tony Ferguson, and I'm counting this on Gaethje, no matter what.
Okay, Gurkaran, now that you've had the opportunity.
So guys, first of all, the thing I want to say is that, man, as much as I want this fight, I don't want this fight also, because I really want to see Tony Ferguson, because this thing has been jinxed since the first time, 5 times. Just imagine 5 times, Last time the whole world is trembling, So this is what's happening, So what I would like to see, I want Tony Ferguson to win, because I want to see Tony Ferguson versus Khabib to happen, But man, what I really think is gonna happen is that, like Srikant said, that guy, the balls on that guy is, Tony Ferguson got massive balls too. He's a killer. He's a boogeyman. And I don't know what's going to happen. He might have a game plan, but I know once he steps inside the octagon, he's going to be chasing. He's going to be trying to be boogeyman, and trying to come to kill. And Justin Gaethje is not going to back down, bro. He's got the balls of the size of, I think the elephant or something. This guy is a crazy guy, man. This guy, the heart this guy's had, I've seen him, get so tired. And I've been as tired as, not as that guy, probably half not as tired. And from inside, the thing is fuck, you can't. But that guy pushes himself every time he's that tired. He wants to go. That's when he reset or something, and he pushes forward. And he doesn't go crazy. He's still throwing proper shots and knees and stuff like he did with Michael Johnson. So what I would like to say is that I want Tony to win, but how I see this finishing is that I think Tony Ferguson does have the tendency that he does get caught every time with a lot of punches. He gets rocked and stuff, so he rolls around and everything and stuff. But the guys that who has caught him, they were not as good finishers as Justin Gaethje. If Justin Gaethje catches him, he would be able to finish that fight badly. Did you see how he finished Cowboy Cerrone? The way he finished James Wick? And I think if he catches him, which I think he will, and I think he's not gonna let Tony go, and the Khabib fight is gonna go down the drain.
I don't think the Khabib fight is gonna go down the drain, and nobody's questioning the size of Justin Gaethje's balls. I think Justin definitely, has the biggest balls ever to accept this fight. And of course, if there's somebody who can beat him, it's Tony. But I just want to say, Tony Ferguson is always taken into deep waters, but never beaten. Right? Justin Gaethje has been taken into deep waters and beaten. And I think that is the little difference, between, because both of them, I think, are guys who never quit. That is the thing. If you see, there is no quit on any of these guys, either of them. That's what makes it such an amazing fight, just like it would have made Tony versus Khabib. Of course, Tony versus Justin is not that level yet, but it's very close. I would call this, if Khabib versus Tony was A+, then this is A. Let's just call it that. So it's that level.
This might be a shocker. You never know.
Yeah, you never know, of course. Justin is not a walkover. He's beaten, all kinds of. He's been an amazing, experienced fighter. He never gives up. One can
style make fights too.
Sorry.
The style make fights too.
Yeah, absolutely. Styles make fights, and you never know. So you never know. So anybody want to?
But then when
go ahead, Srikant.
Yeah, like I just wanted to say, like, I love Justin Gaethje, right? But then the thing is, it would have been really a beautiful matchup when Justin Gaethje fought Conor McGregor. Like, I was really looking forward to that matchup.
Yeah.
Justin Gaethje versus Conor McGregor. I didn't know what happened exactly. That never came into play. But down the line, I'm looking forward to that matchup. Conor McGregor versus Justin Gaethje. It's going to be all hell loose.
That's great.
So I was hoping something similar. I was on the same card. Is the matchup that Srikant mentioned, and if the Khabib fight wasn't happening, Tony versus Oliveira. I think these are very exciting matchups. And what I was also wanting to say was, when obviously you got to give Justin the respect that he deserves, and he's a force to reckon with. He has a very high knockout ratio. I think a lot of his fights are finishes in terms of percentage. I don't know if it's 80, 70 or whatever, but it's on the higher side. But when I look at Tony, he's and mostly all fighters are, but he's something special, and he's like a lot of fighters in one. His durability is, for me, something like a Nogueira, right? His work rate is something like Nick Diaz, or a Frankie Edgar, or his the way he does it better, but a lot of ways he uses elbows and striking. In not a lot of ways, in some ways, like a Carlos Condit, and his resolve. You can name any MMA fighter. So he encompasses so many qualities, that other fighters have that are predominant, or mainly the major quality they have. So that and you said as well, it is when you take him into deep waters, he either makes you feel uncomfortable or comfortable. When you feel too comfortable, and then, he's proved it so many times, but you have a Justin punching your face, and getting the right angle, the right momentum. That's what I'm saying. You don't know. It's 4-ounce gloves, right? So I hope the best man wins. I don't want anybody to get lucky, but I'm very scared for Tony, because that's the thing. It's a very risky fight, because Justin is no walk in the park. And I would have.
Tell me about the rounds. Just tell me about the rounds, like the round and the timing. What do you predict?
I am into the third, late or mid fourth, in a scramble. He's going to make it a very messy fight, but Srikant, like I said, his ability to absorb punishment or evade the punishment that Justin brings forth is what's to be seen. It's not predicting a fight. You're sitting there, so it's. I think it comes down to that. Now Tony has obviously I don't think his wrestling experience is the same as. Obviously, it's not the same as Justin. But then you add his his jiu-jitsu in there, and the camp he comes with, it all makes it makes a lot of a difference. So I just, like I said, I just hope the better fighter wins. But it would be kind of sad. I'm not that I don't want Justin to win, being the better fighter, if that's what happens. But it would be kind of sad to see that Tony has been, for the past 5 years, I think, #1 contender, and then something like that happens. So both these guys have balls of steel or whatever, platinum or whatever. But I just want to. It's a great fight for MMA. It's a great fight for the fans, and I can't wait for it. So.
Yeah.
Gurkaran, any last words? You want to change your mind? Anything?
he's not gonna forget that.
Guys, Tony's gonna win. I'm sorry. Okay, guys. What I would like to on serious note, what I would like to say is, it's gonna be very, very interesting to see who's gonna pressure who, because these both are pressure fighters. They pressure their opponents, take them into deep waters. So it's kind of very interesting to see who's pressuring who. Like Justin Gaethje is pressuring like Tony, or Tony's pressuring like with everything up and down. Justin Gaethje. It's going to be very important. Like, I think that's going to set the pace. Who's going to be doing what to who? And if Justin Gaethje catches Tony with something, and obviously Tony, I think there's going to be someone panicking and someone is going to be going back, and because both of them are going to come forward, I think so. And the second thing I want to say is that, man, if someone's going to lose, I think either the physical body is going to go out, like they're going to get choked out or knocked out, but not one of these guys. They're spirits. No, not one guy is going to think about like giving up or like I'm getting too tired. I think they both are going to go.
Yeah, not at all.
Because they both are at that level. I think mentally, it's just that's why this fight. Like I really want to see this fight, and because it's just so exciting. But because of the Khabib fight, what might happen to that? Like if something happens over here, that's the only reason. Like that scares me.
So I just want to say, I agree with you, but I just want to say, I think Tony is not going to come out that, I think, aggressive. He is going to let Justin be the aggressor and play a counter game and absorb, I think, some punishment that you always see Tony, the first round, he's always a little, he takes his time. And once he has absorbed that, then you see the other guys start slowing down and Tony starts taking over the fight. I do have a feeling that is kind of the way this fight is going to go. Not for any other reason, because of the way Tony is able to absorb punishment and the way Justin is able to dish it out. So, but of course.
But the thing is that, like, if you are saying that, like, Tony takes one round to get into his flow and dancing and stuff, what before that happens, Justin catches him, game over. So that's also a negative point also too, That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. Before Tony gets his momentum, he's going to get caught. And if that happens, he get caught, Justin will finish him, I think so.
If he does, yeah, he will. But I personally don't think that's going to happen. But, that's all about...
It's just our opinions. I think we are just giving our opinions. No one's going to win. Okay, that read. Okay.
You will get a message from me when Tony wins.
Okay.
I have two questions.
Okay. Everybody.
I'll look forward to it.
I think it's going to be on my wall with a question mark.
I have two questions. May I?
Yes, sir.
Please.
This is slightly off topic, but it is about a fighter. But just real quick. Initially, when Srikant just came on this call, Srikant, you have a new fight name?
No, like I've been training with the same guys.
No.
I've been training in Indian Combat Sports Academy for...
Fight name.
Fight name.
Gorilla.
No, it's like Captain Crazy, right?
Yeah. Oh, so Mr. Dabas had said Gorilla. That's why I was a little confused. I'm like, what happened? When did that happen? So I was just trying to find out.
Sorry. I think Srikant, you have used Gorilla a couple of places or somewhere. No?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Like Gorilla and the Notorious, so it's a Gorilla and the Captain Crazy,
Yeah, I stay in the jungles, in the mountains, and I train like that. Yeah. I lift rocks and throws around. Like, why not to be a monkey when you are a monkey at the end of the day?
Well, sorry to keep you away from the jungle and the trees. But you're still swinging, so that's pretty close.
Yeah.
But thank you guys. Thank you all for taking out the time to discuss 249, and let's see who wins. So, and who will get the messages. Because, winning these things, even though you're not in the thing, there's a certain sweetness, when the person you said is going to win, wins.
Ego's going to get boosted like that.
It's just like...
Justin Gaethje, second round KO.
Okay. So let's see what happens with the fight. But thanks, Parvin, for taking out the time and enjoy the rest of your downtime.
As soon as this lockdown gets over, I am coming down to Bombay to collect my trophies from you.
Please do that. Please do that.
Yeah. Okay.
दारू भी मिलेगा, दारू के लिए लाइन में नहीं लगना पड़ेगा.
क्या बात. Good.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Parvin, sir, for having us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Dabas. Nice talking to you, Gurkaran and Srikant.
And again, thank you, Vishal Seigell from Kuwait Combat Academy, Srikant Sekhar, one of the #1 MMA fighters in our country, India, and Gurkaran SINGH Shawney from India Top Team. Gurkaran, India Top Team franchise ही है क्या American Top Team का?
नहीं अभी हमने लेने पैसे देने बाकी है अभी
पैसे देने बाकी but a lot of American top team guys are fighting right on this card. I know we said advice. Never mind. I'll call you.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Cool.
All right.
See you guys.
Cheers.
Nice talking to you.
Namaste.
See you. Yeah.
Bye bye.
Justin Gaethje!
Someone will get finished, I can guarantee that.
Tony Ferguson, the most exciting mixed martial arts fighter.
This is going to be a phenomenal fight, and I can't wait to see it.